Hi there, my name is Steve Gerhardt, and as always, this is the Unagi Observer. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching the video. I always appreciate that you do, as this is a labor of love for me. This week I am going to Gen Con, which means that you're getting a hodgepodge video this week that I pre-recorded over the span of about 14 days. So there's going to be some odd stuff in here. There's probably going to be a Gif Attack AMV in here. I'm going to talk about some snacks I bought from Ebisu, which is a local sort of Japanese tchotchke goods store kind of thing going on. And maybe talk about an anime or two, just kind of touch on a couple of things. And and so that's the video you'll get this week. And then when I come back, the next video that'll be coming up, which will be, I think, probably the day after I get back from Gen Con, I will give you the Gen Con 2025 report. I'll tell you how my panels did, and I'll tell you what I saw and what games I played. So Gen Con's always a fun time for me. I expect no less, but I just want to give you guys the report for it for next week. So without further ado, let's get into this hodgepodge of a video. Okay, for those of you who don't know, I live in Baltimore. North of Baltimore is this town called Towson. Towson State University is there. There's some other stuff up there. One of the many things you can find in Towson is a store called Ebisu. It's a small chain. What they do is they basically sell Japanese snacks, beverages, tchotchke. They have a gachapon arcade up on usually somewhere in the store. But it's a place where you can kind of get, kind of low-key items like, there's model kits, but they're not, like if you're looking for the, specific Gundam model kit, you're probably not going to find it there, but they have enough stuff there, and models and figurines and things that you can buy, tchotchke and stuff like that. And a big portion of the store is actually food, snacks, and beverages. And so a lot of people go there for that. So like, yes, they sell Pocky, but they sell special kinds of Pocky. And so you can find all sorts of neat little things that you may not find elsewhere, or it may be difficult to find. So I kind of overdid it this week and bought a lot of stuff, and a lot of it was like different flavors of Pocky I hadn't seen before, banana, mixed berry, and things like that. And but the things that I want to show today, I'm not going to bore you with all the Pocky, but there are a couple things that I got, and I think they're kind of interesting, and I haven't opened them yet. So we're just going to go through two items. The first item I got, I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and I was kind of like, no, that is not the tin from Grave of the Fireflies. For those of you who know that anime, that wonderful anime movie, Grave of the Fireflies, there's a very, very touching scene about a tin of candy, and I'm just going to leave it at that because it's the tin of candy that you can actually find in Japan, and it will make you cry after you watch the movie. So anyway, this is not that tin, thank goodness, but it is filled with blueberry drops. All right, so we're going to break the seal here. And we're going to give this a try and see what we think of this. Okay, that came off pretty easily. All right, let's see if we can open this without, like, having to use a tool. I might have to use a tool. All right, one moment, and I'll be right back. So it was nice to know that was firmly in place in there, but it was a little tough to get. I actually had to pry it open a little bit. Okay, I'm kind of looking in there. Wow, these are kind of big. I was expecting like, little small things. Here, I'll show you. Wow, they really are kind of big. So I was thinking of small, hard candies, right? But this is the size. Look at that. Wow. Okay, so let's give it a try. It's supposed to be blueberry. Definitely sweet. like a hard candy. Okay, there's a little bit of the blueberry there. The longer this stays, it sounds horrible, but the longer this stays in the mouth, the longer, the more blueberry flavor you get. So this is definitely something you tuck in your cheek and kind of work out over the course of time. I just cracked it. I bet you can hear me chewing here. Actually, this is really not bad. The blueberry flavor at first is subtle. The longer it's there, the more pronounced it becomes, but it's not overwhelming. That's kind of nice because sometimes things can be really, really, really overwhelming. Wow. But I gotta tell you, this tin should last me a while because that's a significant size candy, hard candy. There's quite a bit in there. All right. Blueberry drops in a tin. So wow, even chewing, it took a while to get through. I'm actually quite impressed with that candy. I really enjoyed that. That is definitely something that I will probably buy again in the future. There were different flavors, by the way, and so I'm interested to see for this particular brand what kind of flavors they have out there. So I'll let you guys know. Okay, so the second thing that I got was kind of fun. It was one of those BOGO things, buy one, get one free. And they're Kit Kats. I love Kit Kats. And one of the things that I love about what Japanese do with American kind of candies or Western candies or confectionery items and things like that is that they love to make all these different flavors and things like that. So I got this one, particular one that I'm going to show you in a second, and a matcha green tea one. So I've had that one before, the matcha, but I haven't had this one before. And the reason why I got it was because it was BOGO, and it's a Nestle, obviously Nestle Kit Kat, but it has gold in it. All right, so we're gonna open this bad boy up. It says open. Good to know I can read still. Okay, so these are like little ones. So this isn't like the big 4-pack thing. This is a little one. All right. So can you see that? All right. So we're gonna open this bad boy up. See what they look like. Okay, they're kind of goldish in color. I think the idea is that the gold is melted into the chocolate, maybe. All right. I'm just gonna pop the whole thing. So here's the excuse me, wrong pipe. So here's the interesting thing about these. They don't really taste different than a normal Kit Kat, which is fine because I love Kit Kats. So this is interesting in that it looks different, but it tastes the same. And I like the idea that I'm eating a little bit of gold, if that is indeed true. So yeah, there you go. If you find this and you like regular Kit Kat taste, but you want something looks a little different, there you go. All right, we're gonna have another one. Okay, so for the next part of this hodgepodge video, I'd like to talk about a manga I picked up at the Pratt Library. That's my local city library here in Baltimore. Support your local library. They are filled with entertaining and educational things that will help you or at least entertain you in life. So support your local library. I will step off my soapbox now and go back to talking about the manga that I picked up at the Pratt Library called Satsuma Gishiden. Also known as The Legend of the Satsuma Samurai. The cover is kind of covered in, Pratt stickers. to check it out. Um, Dark Horse. This was picked up by Dark Horse Comics a few years ago. There are actually 6 Japanese volumes to this story, and thus far, Dark Horse has done three volumes. So hopefully by the time I get through the 3rd volume, they'll have the rest done because it's actually pretty good. So this is a Gekira manga, which means it's kind of like a high drama, kind of historical kind of thing going on here. So if you are into big samurai stories, samurai movies, where it's the samurai against the shogunate, that's pretty much what this is. So let's get into the particulars. Let's go to our data here. This was written for Weekly Manga Goraku magazine from 1977 to 1982. So this is an older one. It was written by Hiroshi Hirata, who also did a lot of the actual, I think, kanji symbols here. So I don't know if you can see him, but those guys right there, he actually did that. And side note, he also did the kanji symbols for Akira. Didn't know that until I read that. So yeah, that's kind of it. Not a whole lot there in terms of data, but it is a pretty well-known manga in Japan. Again, it's the trope story is samurai good, shogunate bad. So this is a story about the samurai dealing with the corruption of the shogunate. This is actually based on a historical incident, as many of these are. This particular one was set in, I believe, the Hiroroki incident? Yeah, 1754, the Horeki, River incident. So basically the story is about that, where the Tokugawa shogunate, Tokugawa Ieyasu, had the Satsuma clan divert all of its resources. It's a poor clan, so they don't have a whole lot of money, but they wanted them to take all their samurai, all their people, everything, and basically reroute 3 major rivers that constantly flooded year after year after year. And the Tokugawas did this on purpose to kind of keep an eye on the Satsuma samurai, because they tended to be really haughty and really not friendly to the Tokugawas. So by doing this, it would ruin the clan, and basically they would be able to institute their own clan into that area of the world. The Satsuma samurai also had a school of thought called Nisei, and it is a very strict samurai code, not necessarily a Bushido code, but a samurai code. And it's very strict, and it's kind of weird, like they have nothing can touch them. Basically, they have to be pure in their manhood. It's really kind of almost misogynist. Well, not almost, it is, because there are points that they make where, like, if you're walking down the street, you can't have a woman touch you. You can't talk to a woman. You can't do anything because that'll distract you from being a samurai and stuff like that. So it's a very strict code of behavior for samurai, Nisei. And so the Tokugawas come in, they say, hey, you guys are going to deal with this river. You're going to use all your economic resources, which isn't that much. You're going to use all your manpower, which means your samurai as well, which means that they're not going to be able to foment a revolution. And in real life, the incident prompted something like 55 seppuku incidents. Several samurai died of disease, and very bad deaths that were not related to how a samurai should die, right? In war. So this is peacetime. This is the Tokugawa War, also known as the Edo period. So we're past the Sengoku period. So samurai have a different role in the world at this point, or are starting to experience a different role in their world, and it's not something that they want. And so a big part of this story in Volume 1, it talks about this one particular samurai called Shino, who's arrested for not necessarily fomenting a rebellion, but basically going against the grain, and the Tokugawas are just like, no, you got to die. And so it starts off with this really archaic way of execution where other samurai chase after him on a horse. Like if he can get on a horse and ride and touch a tree in the like a mile away without dying, then all things are forgiven and he can go on his life. So it's a weird way of executing somebody. So he does this, and the guy actually turns around and does a speech, basically. Where is your samurai code? Don't you think that living like dogs is bad enough? You know, why are we doing this to each other? This isn't what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be samurai, and you know, screw the Tokugawa, screw the shogunate, you know, and you know, talking in this way. And then about halfway through, the head of the Satsuma clan gets the letter from the Tokugawa shogunate, basically saying, "Oh, by the way, you're going to actually divert the course of 3 major rivers on Honshu Island that has been flooding and killing thousands of people year after year after year, and you're going to do it with like no money and all your manpower. So, haha, guess what? We're going to screw with you until your clan is destroyed." So then that kind of sets up the rest of how Shino, the samurai who eventually is able to get free of his execution, shows, you know, it's basically trying to figure out what he's going to do in his life, and while still being a samurai. So there's a lot of impositions and codes and things that he has to follow in order to make this happen. So that's where we're at in the book. And the manga is very interesting. So if you're a historical person like I am, and actually part of my degree is in Edo period Japan, this is very interesting because it has a lot of, you know, true background stuff. This is high melodrama, by the way. So it's not like this stuff didn't happen, but it wasn't normal. Like, it was kind of unusual. So, but this is as I like to joke about it, this is a manly manga for manly men who want to watch samurai being manly. That's basically what this is. And insofar as that, if you can handle that, then this is entertaining. It is hyper violent. It is graphic, but done very well. But here, I'll just kind of show you a little bit if you can see that. If that reminds you of Lone Wolf and Cub, this is very much that art style. So, should you read it? Kind of depends on what you're into. If you're into historical stuff, if you really just like samurai and just Bushido codes and things like that, and you watch samurai movies where the samurai go up against the shogunate, whether they win or lose doesn't really matter, yes, read this. If you are a Lucky Star fan, or you know, you like magical girls or something like that, not so much. Gritty, grimdark, bloody, like I said, very violent, and yeah, it's entertaining from a historical perspective because they get a lot of things right, but from a story perspective, you kind of have to want that to read it. I do want to wish, I do hope that I'm able to read it. Like I said, Dark Horse Comics picked up the license to do it, and they've published 3 volumes, but they got 3 more to go, and it's unclear whether or not they're going to get to that. So hopefully they will. I'm sort of a completist that way. So yes, Satsuma Gishiden, The Legend of the Satsuma Samurai. Give it a try. See what you think. So every season, John, Brent, and I over on Anime Archaeology, part of the Otaku Station channel, YouTube channel. Link will be down below in case you want to see it. We do deep dives on animes and things like that. And we also do an anime watch for each season, and we try to limit it to the first episode of a new anime, brand new. And we also, part of it is that we don't do stuff that is like basically kid shows, right? You know, little kid shows. So we try to get through however many anime that can be. Sometimes it can be a few, like 20 to 22. Sometimes it can be up to like almost 40. And we try to push through as many as we can, and then we do then we actually record and we talk about the ones that we watched. These watch parties usually last about an hour and a half once we get it edited down. And so this time around, one of the anime that we watched was called Solo Camping. And I'm not going to give a description of that because it's going to be over on that thing. So check it out next week. It'll be amongst the videos that we were talking about. But the reason why I wanted to bring it up was simply because it reminded me, and we talked about it briefly, about Eurocamp, laid back camp. And, the big differences between the two. Again, I'm not going to go into solo camping because you should see that on your own and see what our responses to it were. But I just wanted to kind of, I was thinking about it and I kind of went back and I watched an episode, the first couple episodes. And, it's one of those things where you realize at the time that you're watching it that you're not realizing that you're watching something that's kind of groundbreaking, right? Eurocamp was kind of a big deal. A lot of people liked it, but a lot of people loved it. There have been healing anime before, and there have been calm anime before this, but this seems to really be like, no, this is the genre, healing, calming anime. Here you go. It seemed to be people seem to latch onto it. Cute girls doing cute things, but camping, and talking about how like their narrator will come in and go, and this is the type of gear that they're actually trying to get because this is the reason why it's good, and blah 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 blah. And it going to real locations, and the characters are definitely relatable and things like that. And it's just kind of rare how sometimes you'll get that flash in the pan, that lightning in the bottle of an anime that just kind of shows up and says, hi, we're going to define an entire genre again, and actually we're going to make you want more of this in different iterations moving forward. And Eurocamp was just that kind of an anime. And I'm not saying that is a masterpiece. It's oh my gosh, it should win all the awards or anything like that. But it's well crafted. It's well done. It's interesting. It's engaging. And a lot of the healing and calming anime that we've seen since then, a lot of people will go, oh yeah, you know what? Eurocamp, layback camp. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. But this is about pottery. Yeah. But same idea, kind of thing. And so, yeah, I just kind of wanted to, kind of bring that up a little bit and just go to those of you who haven't watched Laid Back Camp, Eurocamp. So obviously on Crunchyroll, you can find it just about anywhere. I think you can even find it on YouTube at this point. And, I watched it with the subtitles, not the dub. I'm not into the dub sub wars. Generally speaking, I just watch them in the natural language, Japanese language. And, sometimes when you go back and you watch things, sometimes you get a little disappointed because your memory thinks of something that is better than what it was. And sometimes I'll come across anime that I really liked at the time, and then I'll come back to it years later and I'll be like, okay. I don't have the same feeling that I had when I first watched it. Laid Back Camp is not that. Laid Back Camp, I watched, the first couple of episodes, I'm not going to rewatch the whole series, but I just kind of wanted to get that, see if I had that feeling, could grab that feeling of, hey, this is something. And it's there. It's still there for me. And I think part of that is because we're starting to see a shift in what we're watching in anime, what we're getting in anime nowadays. We had a discussion last night about whether or not we think that as shonen is, we're noticing a marketed lessening of shonen anime, but an increase in romance. Is there going to be a leveling out? Is there going to be a cross-pollination of the two? Who knows? We don't know. But, it's that thing of, let's just like, for a long time it was mecha. For a long time it's isekai. For a long time it's sports. Now we're getting these other little things coming in. We're getting a little bit more romances coming back. Shonen's kind of giving way a little bit. Isekai's starting to wane, just at the beginning of it all. Like, it's still pretty strong. But we also have all this healing anime that we can track back, or I would say modern healing anime that we can track back to Laid Back Camp. So what am I saying to you? What I'm saying to you is that maybe it's time to actually start watching these things, because this might be the new stuff that's going to be coming out for the next 5 to 10 years. And I think it's interesting, and I think it's good, and it's in some cases very mature. And one particular video or anime we saw during the watch, we were very impressed with, and it's definitely calming and healing. and it involves a tanuki, and that's all I'm going to say about it. But yeah, it's very, very interesting, and I think you should get prepared for it. And I think the best way to get prepared for this new kind of genres or upgraded genres coming at us is to watch Laid Back Camp, I think. Maybe take a glance at Rosa Versailles. Maybe take a look at some shoujo manga, some romance mangas, and just kind of be prepared for the fact that maybe Dragon Ball will slip a little bit. Maybe we won't see as much as of that anymore. Maybe Hunter x Hunter has run its course. One Piece, who knows? Maybe it'll go on forever. The spin-offs will go on forever. Who knows? We don't know. But there's definitely going to be a shift in the paradigm, I think. And it can't hurt to prepare for that. So start with a Laid Back Camp. I think you will enjoy it no matter what kind of anime you like. So give it a go. It's on Crunchyroll, and like I said, you can pretty much at this point find it just about anywhere. And just enjoy it. Have a good time with it. It literally is, you'll just sit there and just be, by the end of it, you'll be like, I feel good. So yeah, give it a go. Laid Back Camp. So that's it for the video for this week, this hodgepodge video. Thank you so much for watching it and sticking with it. So I hope you found that interesting. I hope you liked the Gif Attack video. And but yeah, by the time you watch this, I will be prepping and for my panels and probably packing, getting ready to go to Gen Con. So I'll be on Gen Con, leaving on Wednesday, coming back on Sunday. Probably on Monday, I will give you guys a review of Gen Con 2025. So that's what's upcoming next week. And then after that, we'll go back into the regular anime reviews. So I hope you'll stick around and come back and watch the Gen Con 2025 review. I usually have a good time, find some new games that I review and things like that. So it's a fun little video for me to make, and it's a fun convention I go to every year. So yeah, if you are going to the convention, as always, the panel IDs are down below. So if you want to stop by and watch the panel and say hi to me, that would be awesome if you did that. But if you're out in the world and you happen to see me, please come by and say hi, introduce yourself, because I would love to talk to you. And so in order for me to talk to you guys, you have to take care of yourselves, do the healthy thing, be around, because I love you guys, and I want to meet you out there in the world, out in the wild, as they say. So that's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you next time. And as always, watch more anime.